Okay, back to morning Mishlei, chapter 24, new chapter. Okay, and this is two pesukim that are clearly connected because of the key, not the bitlock key. Al takane va'anshe ra'a va'al tis'av lihios itam ki shod yehege libam va'amal sifsehem tadaberna. Wait, let me make sure I can hear the volume of the peeps.
Don't be jealous.
Say it again.
I said, don't be jealous.
Yeah. Don't be jealous
of bad people.
Of bad people, bad men. Yeah, evil. Let's say, yeah. Okay. I'll say bad. Yeah.
And don't desire to be with them.
Don't desire to be with them.
Because I don't know what shod means.
Yeah, so shod is like does he say? No, he doesn't say. Shod is, what's the word? Where do you know this? Plunder, yeah, plunder, yeah. Where do we know? I feel like there's a place where we should know this from. Shod. I don't know. Anyway, so because yeah, so I think we have to translate this backwards. Yehege libam. Their hearts was yehege. Uvasaraso yehege yomam v'layla. Yeah, to think. Their hearts think plunder. Okay, or probably think about, right? Think about plunder. Va'amal sifsehem tadaberna. Now, amal is a very ambiguous term.
It's not toil.
That's RL. What was it?
Isn't that toil?
Yeah, toil. Toil is the my go-to, right? So, and amal sifsehem, and the toil of their lips tadaberna. Yeah, I'm not even 100% sure about. Yeah, I don't know if
their lips speak.
I think so. I'm thinking it's their lips speak toil, and their lips speak toil. Okay, we'll have to see the English here and see if this fits in. So first of all, we got Metzudas ציון. It says Yege is Yachshov, Kamo v'higion libi. Right, that's the other place where we said Higion libi is the thoughts of my heart. Okay, Sadion says Ki libosam hoge esa shod, because their hearts think or contemplate the plunder. Okay, that's kind of how we have it. I don't know exactly what he's he showed yehege libam ki libosam hoge es hashod. I guess he's saying hashod. He's putting the definite article there, the plunder. Okay, so I'll just put this in Sadia Gaon. Sadia Gaon adds the. Okay, and then Targum says lo titan b'mare bishta velo tisragrag. Okay, so this is a don't. I think Titan is like is just a straight translation of Takane, but Mare Bishta, masters of evil, I guess. Velo Tisragrag. This is like the Tisragrag is. I think Ramban explains that that's the short of esrog, like the desirable. Okay, so that's usually that's just a translation of taiva. Lemehave imahon, to be with them. Metul is the weird Aramaic word for key. Metul de ribuna ragin libahon. We'll have to look at ribuna. Avla sif vasahon mamalalan. Okay, yeah. So ribuna. I'm not really in the mood to look it up now, but we can keep it in mind to look it up later. Okay, so nothing like crazy. Art scroll. Do not envy men of evil. They went with your evil, and do not desire to be with them, for their hearts contemplate spoils and their lips speak mischief. Okay, so we'll add mischief here. Mischief sounds like a little like pranksters. I don't. I feel like I don't know if mischief had a more sinister connotation back then. All right, Living Knox says, do not envy wicked men or desire to be with them, for their hearts contemplate robbery. Okay, so that's okay. So I guess that is a different difference in meaning, right? Plunder could either mean the object or it could mean the activity. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add robbery just so that we know this, that's an option. And their lips speak iniquity. Okay, now that is a common translation of amal. Alter says, do not envy evil men and do not desire to be with them, for their heart ponders plunder. Got a little alliteration there. And their lips speak trouble. Okay, yeah, so you can see the ambiguity in this amal here. Okay, so what are our questions? Yeah.
Why would you be jealous of them?
Okay, why would you be jealous of bad men? Yeah. Yeah.
Who are Anshe Ra'a?
Who are these Anshe Ra'a? Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting also, it's Anshe Ra'a, not like Anashim Ra'im, right? Men of badness. I don't know if that makes any difference. It's just not how I would have said it. Yeah, Ellie?
Also, like kind of expanding on Yaakov's question, not only why like be jealous of bad people specifically, but why doesn't it say something like I forget if it's the late or the which one like partakes in pleasurable activity?
Yeah, the seal we describe as the veteran pleasure seeker.
Right. So
Yeah.
that seems much more reasonable to say you'd be jealous of to some degree.
Yeah, correct. Right. So yeah, and I think that kind of suggests that these two questions are going to have to be answered together, right? Is like
Right. I mean,
the type of bad that they're doing
all-encompassing.
evidently is something that is jealous worthy. Yeah, Chaim?
Yeah, what's the difference between being jealous of them and desiring to be with them?
Okay, what is the
Desiring to be
difference
with them and being jealous?
between and let's say difference and relationship,
Yeah,
right? And relation, because it's not even clear which one is more severe,
yeah.
Between being that's not how you spell being, that's probably Ariel. Yeah, jealous of,
No.
or maybe it's Isaac, of them and desiring to be with them. Yeah. Okay, right. In other words, are these like on equal planes, or is it don't be jealous of them or even desire to be with them, right? Like that's how I read it, and I don't have any evidence for that, but like but yeah, okay, fine. Ariel?
Yeah, what does it mean to that their hearts think about robber and plunder,
Yeah. So what?
and their lips speak it?
Yeah. What do the two parts of pasuk? Are we having that problem again? Pasuk bet. Yeah.
And
Right.
another,
Yeah. Their hearts think about plunder, and their lips speak amal. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what amal is. I mean, we could break that down more, but I think we all know how to do that. So, yeah, you're gonna say it, Ariel?
yeah, another question is, if your lips speak it, doesn't that already mean that your heart thinks about it? Like couldn't you just have had that second half without the first half?
So if the thing that you're speaking about is the same thing, then yes. But since their heart is thinking about plunder and their lips are speaking about amal, and we don't know what the relationship between amal and plunder is, then it's not necessarily what you're saying.
So I guess that question is like, is it specific to, is it limiting the hate that they're doing, or the issues that they're having?
Is it limiting? I don't know what you mean.
Meaning, like, is it specifically, like, are these people specifically plundering and robbers, or can it extend to other mischief?
Okay, so I'm gonna actually put that under the second question. Who are these Anshe Ra? And like, is their Ra limited to the two activities specified in pasuk bet? Yeah. Yeah, Chaim.
What are you being warned of being like? What would you be jealous of? Like, it just says don't be jealous of bad men, but like what does that mean?
Okay, what would you be jealous of? I think that's part of that question, right? Yeah. Yaakov?
What's the relationship between the two pesukim?
Yeah.
Or specifically, assuming you already know that they're Anshe Ra, why doesn't he give a reason?
Okay, what is the relation between the two pesukim, right? Two pesukim. How is bet a reason for Aleph? Yeah, I think we also did not ask the question about the difference between Alt-Kana and Alt-Titav, right? So if there's a difference, sorry, yeah, it's fine. In 3, I thought that my focus was on the on to be with them and of them, but I can also say
mine was I was focusing on like being. What does it mean to be jealous of them and then desiring to be with them?
Okay.
What's the Yeah.
This-
Relationship there, I guess.
in this context. Yeah. I think it's two levels of that question. Yeah. Ariel,
Yeah. What's the chiddush?
what's the chiddush? Classic Ariel question. What's the what?
Well,
Yeah. No, I mean that's
is it a question?
it is a question. I'm gonna actually I think that's the question here, right? The chiddush is gonna have to be dependent on like, you know, of we have to know why you are jealous of them, and then that's gonna a chiddush is gonna emerge from there.
I think Mishlei, like, you know, without this pasuk, I think it would seem pretty obvious. Don't be with bad people.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that's what we were getting at in the first one, right? Is that if you're identifying these people as bad, then why would you desire to be with them despite that? And then why do you need to be told this, and how's that going to help? Yeah, Ellie?
Yeah, I guess.
No.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
No, never mind. Let Ellie go first, and then come back.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so this also seems like very familiar or very similar to the first perek of Mishlei, where
Yeah.
about different, like it almost uses like identical cases.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let's just look at the first perek because Shlomo is assuming that we have read the first perek. My computer's so slow. Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and say that it is similar but not the same if we ever get to the text. I think there he says a different word for desire, but let's see. And he says don't be seduced, I think, but let's see. If sinners seduce you, do not. I think tove here. Yeah, it means desire, but it's from ava, I think. Aleph bet hey, I think, which is a weird. Yeah, ava. Oh, don't consent or don't be willing. Blah 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 blah. Bani al telech b'derech itam. Don't go on the path with them. That is similar also. And withhold your feet from their paths. Yeah, and then he explains the reason why. Yeah, so it is very similar. Did you have something, Isaac, earlier?
Yeah, I just had a question.
Yeah.
Clarification question. Is showed specifically like stolen gains or?
Oh yeah, we didn't ask what showed is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's put that here. What is showed? Is it a reference merely to stolen items, or what would you say the other possibility is?
Illicit gains, but not necessarily stolen.
Okay, or illicit gains in general, or the activity of plundering, right? That was another thing I mentioned, right? Like piracy. David?
The word key, what is that functioning as? Is that saying why one would?
Oh, that's interesting.
And Metzudas, or is that saying
Huh.
don't do it because?
Okay, that's a good question.
That would be key, like when, right?
Yeah. Does key? Well, no. I think you can still read it. I mean, you could say that, but I think you're asking it's because. Does key give a reason for why you are jealous and desirous, or why you shouldn't be jealous and desirous? Right. In other words, are you saying, oh, is the pasuk saying, oh, are you some in the commercial that they're going to make about this pasuk? Are you someone whose heart thinks about plunder and whose lips speak toil? Well, then you shouldn't be jealous of them. I don't know. Or is it saying don't be jealous because their hearts speak blah blah blah? Yeah.
Who's the audience of the pasuk?
Who's the audience of the pasuk? Okay. Who is the audience of the pasuk? Yeah, Ariel. Or is that what you're going to ask?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we probably have the main questions here. All right, so what say we?
Question, the practical application.
Yeah. What is the practical application in here? Just to give the nuance of that, like, I think, how do we do this? Because just saying, don't be jealous, typically doesn't work, you know? So like, is there a strategy we can use to accomplish this? Okay, can we get it all on the screen? Yeah.
Yeah, I think also saying something like saying don't desire.
Yeah.
Is also not.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's different. I don't usually sit on one of these chairs. That's why I felt different last night also. Whatever. Oh, it's not level. Yeah. Or is it? I can't tell. Maybe I just was incompetent. Okay. Yeah. Ariel.
It's very nice.
Thank
Are
you.
we ready for ideas?
We are ready for ideas.
Can I start something off?
Yeah. You want to ask a? Can I use words? Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm just on a train right now. So,
Okay.
okay. So maybe you can say that that like I think the premise you have to take is that you know that these are bad people. It's
Right.
not like you don't know who they are,
Right.
and
So-
you have to look into them.
Yeah, so let me just pause and just articulate that, because I think this is a common thing we see in Mishlei, is that you must say that these are people who we know are bad, because if not, you couldn't implement the pasuk, right? Now, it could be that it is identifying them by pasuk bet, right? By saying that these are the activities that they do. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to know that these are going to have to be identifiable people. Otherwise, you can't implement it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I think so because that's the premise, then maybe you could say that the only way that I could see someone being jealous of them is that if they know that someone exists who do get away with mischievous behavior,
Yeah.
and they have this like luxurious lifestyle that's appealing,
Mhm.
and there is probably like a human element of wanting to have that type of lifestyle.
Right. Okay. So I think that is, I do think that is the simplest approach, right? Is that they're plunder. When you plunder, you get stuff, right? Or plunder is good stuff. And so they're going to have stuff, and there's probably going to be a lifestyle around that stuff. And that's something that arouses jealousy. I think the bigger question is on what is the, so I think this would suggest that the key is, okay, so now the question is, how do you read the key, right? Is it saying, if the plunder is the cause of the jealousy, so then the key would seem to be shifting your perspective on the plunder and on their lips, right? In other words, because you can't say don't be jealous of them because they have plunder. No, that's the thing that you are jealous of. It has to be saying something else about the plunder. Yeah. Ohana, do you have more, Aria, or was that your step so far?
That's it for now. I'm trying to.
Okay, sure. That's fine. I just want to make sure I'm not
section.
cutting you off. All right, so let's go Chaim, Eli, then Isaac.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say about I was gonna build on what Ariel said. So,
Okay. Yeah. So let's go Chaim, Eli, and then.
So I just want to say maybe it's logged off with that like they have this lifestyle, but even if they get away with like doing these bad or evil deeds,
Yeah.
and it's like there's like some sort of like drive just to do the bad deeds, not like logged off to live the lifestyle that they're gonna live. Logged off they even have like a fancy lifestyle, but like there's something about like people who get away with doing bad things. It's like they're breaking the system.
Yeah. So I hear that the emotion that you're saying, I acknowledge that it exists. Okay, which always bodes well for a shot. But would it use the word kina and taiva for that? To me, that points more like what Ariel's saying, that there is some pleasure element there, that not just they got away with it.
That's what I'm arguing. So maybe I'll make this case a little stronger. It's not just that they get away with it. It's just that there is a lifestyle of getting away with it,
right?
Even without necessarily having a lavish lifestyle. It's like I feel.
Okay, so I'm going to give a real world example, which may or may not resonate, but like I was one of the good kids, and I didn't violate the rules or anything like that. And there were kids, who would violate the rules and get away with it. I think, speaking personally, the feeling that you're touching upon is much more resentment towards that. Not like I'm so jealous that they're getting away with breaking the rules, unless it's something that I want to break the rules for. And then you're back into Ariel's shot, because if I want to break the rules, then I'm being jealous of the fact that they're getting all this good stuff, or that, you're going to have to sell me more on your interpretation. That's because the kina slightly, but then certainly the taiva. That's the thing that like taiva is a strong word, yeah, Ellie.
So I think the two pesukim are related. They're almost what's the word? Respective of each other.
No, not reciprocal. That's not anything.
No, like yeah, like
Correlated. Yeah.
or
Reciprocal,
when there's,
complementary.
like a list of things and
Yeah.
then they'll correlate to something else. They'll say like respectively, like this.
Yeah.
Almost
Oh,
like-
you mean like like alt kind of corresponds to the showed and the second half corresponds to the second half, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think with that you could say jealousy is more of a wanting for material things, while
Mhm.
desire in this context means more of the behavior related to. I don't know exactly.
Okay, so I'll support that by saying, I mean, I definitely think that it works out for the first half, right? You're jealous of them because of their stuff, excuse me, and then which is being referenced here, and then you desire to be with them because of this quality of the speech that you're going to partake in, or that's where it's addressing, the type of social element, something like that. Yeah, let's go Isaac David in the back to find.
So I was wondering if we could read the second half as their hearts think about showed, but like the but.
Their hearts think about showed, but that's a good possibility. Yeah. All right. So one of these, yeah. We need a word in the English language that's an and but, because that's exactly, and that is how the vavs are in Mishlei. That anyone can be an and or a but. Yeah.
Like then it would be like
That's
the
good,
showed
yeah.
is enticing.
Yeah.
But the amal is the reason.
Okay. I think that is a good possibility. Yeah. Yeah. David.
Okay, I'll just say with what Haim was saying. I do feel like I'm in a similar boat to whatever he was saying.
Okay.
Like,
Fight me.
And I do think that there is, at least I could say experientially for myself, that there is a certain there is
Maybe I'm not bad enough. Yeah, go ahead.
looking forward to like a fantasizing or things like that. I think I was actually thinking particularly the lashon of Kina and Ta'ava. I think really does speak to that. There is a certain looking forward to this type of thing, even if it's just that in and of itself. Possibly a little bit of a support is it's kishori again libam vamos katem tadaberma. They're not actually things that have necessarily happened, right? Like they're just speaking of this.
Right.
Like, it's
Thoughts
just,
and
like,
speech.
it's
Right.
all in,
That's true.
it's not actually in
That's a good
practice.
point. That's a good point. Right. And so yeah, that's a good observation, regardless of how we read the pasuk, which is that it is not whether key is an explanation for why you shouldn't do this or why you are doing this, or Isaac's, which is splitting the two. Then it's not focusing on their actions; it's focusing on their speech and thought. That's interesting. Yeah. Chaim.
Yeah. So what I want to try to argue again, what I was saying before.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't really think of many examples, but I feel like it's definitely been romanticized in Hollywood at least, which I think points to a typo maybe.
Yeah.
That's what Hollywood does.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been many movies or shows based around a character who is rule breaky, but they don't necessarily live a glamorous lifestyle.
Yeah.
The one show that comes to my mind is this Prime show called Wayne.
Never heard of
This
that one,
kid who's just crazy and people love it. And I watched it. I was there was part of me that was oh, this is great.
Yeah.
He's breaking all the rules. He's
Yeah.
slamming the guy's head with a hammer.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good, but anyway,
Dorm counselor becomes worried about roommate fights now in different level. Yeah.
Or I think another example that would be Punisher, from Marvel. He's some sort of road guy who just kind of does whatever he wants to do. And,
Yeah.
Doesn't live a glamorous life.
Right. Okay.
So I do think that is
Okay. I hear you. I hear
do
you.
think it's been
Yeah.
it's been romanticized.
Yeah.
And then I want to say maybe for the lip speaking toil, the reason that you would either why this would be something that I think boosts this whole thing about them blundering is that to me that seems that they're outspoken about it. It's not just they do it and then they hide away from it. They fully embrace this lifestyle
Mhm.
and everybody knows about it. And they're not worried about that either.
Yeah.
From the outside, they're just yeah, this is what I do, and I'll beat you up if you say anything about it,
Yeah.
And there's a certain, I feel like there's a certain fantasy also about having that kind of quote unquote self assurance, I guess.
Okay. I'm definitely I'm warming to the idea. Let's go Isaac and then Ariel.
I have a different approach.
Okay. I think we're at the point where we're just getting everything on the table now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this
My
is-
hammer. Yeah.
I think so. I think maybe the first half is that you might be jealous of them and desire to be with them for whatever reason, but that's saying like don't associate with them, because when they're interacting with you, all they're thinking about is how they're gonna rob you and plunder you.
Mhm.
And they're and like what their lips are speaking is not like isn't like it's not gonna it's gonna be toil, mischief, iniquity, trouble for you.
Mhm. So, you're making me realize that similar to what we observed about the second half, that it's only talking about their thoughts and their speech. First half is also not talking about your actions. It's talking about your internal world. And that, I think, is a way where it is differentiating it from the first perek. I mean, the two definitely go together. The first perek, he's actually telling you, don't go with them. Here, this seems like a prior step of don't even be jealous or desirous of being with them. So, yeah. But what you said is a good read on that also. Yeah, Ariel.
Yeah, can I suggest another possible reading of the pesukim?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe can you say that don't be jealous of bad men is related to because their hearts think about the plunder, as in like speaking about the individual who shouldn't be jealous about, like their hearts who think about plunder is speaking about the individual who is jealous of them, meaning that there is going on the person who is jealous.
No, I don't think you can say that.
I'm sorry that there is going on the don't desire to be with them, and the mischief, the total mischief is going on don't be jealous of bad men, because they're actually speaking it.
Are you trying to say that okay, so the way to read it is libam is the lave shel anshe ra. Are you differing with that?
I want libam is going on the heart is going on because their heart think about the plunder is going on the
audience of the pasuk or on the anshe ra?
On the audience.
Yeah, so I think you can't read it that way because it's plural.
Oh, because it's plural?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also third person.
It's third person, right? It would say your heart.
Yeah.
Some of Rose original way of learning this,
Yeah.
I think it says talking about someone who values wealth and material possessions.
Yeah.
And that these Anshe Ra are people who are criminals or robbers or do illicit dealings or
Yeah.
something like that. And this person is kind of falling into a human tendency to not really differentiate the object of value and the personality of the one that's
Yeah.
thing he likes.
Yeah. Okay.
His attraction towards the money is flowing towards attraction of people.
Yeah.
He's not really aware of being careful of that.
Yeah.
And then the second pasuk is saying, you need to differentiate because these people are corrupt.
Right.
Their hearts think about.
Okay, good. I also think, several of us have touched upon this, but I think your argument, Chaim, most recently supports this, which is ordinarily when we talk about jealousy, it is this person has a thing and I want the thing, right? And like if I got the thing, then the jealousy would end, or if I deprived them of the thing, then the jealousy would end. This is a more specific form of jealousy, where like Yaakov's saying, their possession of the thing, the way they acquire the thing, and who they are all like wrapped up in one fantasy package, that like you desire, and that's why desiring to be with them, being with them is like you get to like live out that fantasy simply by associating with them, or being in their group, fancying yourself one of them. So I think I like that approach. I think that's really what this is dealing with. So now the question is, what is the argument that he's making? So you're taking a step, which is that they are corrupt, right? But the question at the end of the day is going to be like, how does this argument accomplish its goal? Like how Shlomo giving this advice actually going to make us not give in to these things? I think we just need to flesh that out more in order to get an idea. Like let's take the again, I think like the just to use the first perek example, right? So you have this kid who's like a good kid, but all the other youths his age are going out there and they are, robbing and stealing. So they're getting power, they're getting great stuff. People fear them, which is, I guess, another element of the power. There's a certain bonding and togetherness that they have, that they have a role, they have identity. All of that is what is part of the appeal. So now, how is telling a person who has that kina and taiva, these guys, their heart contemplates plunder and their lips speak amel, how is that going to stop this guy from being jealous? In other words, if he said, look at all these consequences that come, that's the argument he uses in the first perek of these guys are like birds who are trying to get free bait, not knowing that the hunter lies in ambush, that they're going to suffer, right? So that argument I get, you're going to get a consequence. But yeah, that's all I would have to say. If you were jealous of gang members, it's like birds are being trapped. Oh no. Yeah. So how is this argument going to be persuasive here? I think that's what we need to get. Someone's toasting some bread. Yeah. Yeah. You hear the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it possible to say that in pasuk Aleph he is focusing on, like, in a sense, like the general picture of the bad men?
Yeah.
There's like a certain, call it ideal, that the person has of this person, and then in pasuk Ben he's fleshing out, and this might go against what we're saying, so I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
In pasuk Ben he's fleshing out like the negative traits and the negative things that makes this person who he is, and he's kind of like bringing that to light and saying like, oh, you're a guy, oh, you think robbery is cool and that's good, like, is that something like actually, and like you think that like just talking about trouble is like, that's actually a good thing, like that's what this guy actually represents. Like there might be, what I'm trying to say is there might be like a picture that we have of these people,
right?
And like in like the overall, like when we can gloss over all these bad things that they do, it's like, whoa, like they're defying the law or they're living this lifestyle. But then when you like get down to the nitty gritty of like, then this is what they do to get that.
Yeah.
In order to have that shame, you have to be a robber and you have to be a deceitful person. And it's like, is that the kind of person that you want to be? Yeah.
So let me give you an example of that. I think that's a good move, which is that he is that the audience of the pasuk already has the value system by which, or has the ideas by which hearts contemplating showed and lips speaking amal is, he recognizes that as bad, but he's not connecting that to these people. So an example of this is, I don't know, I must have seen a movie that like is putting this example in my mind, but like, let's say you look at like the glamorous lifestyle of like the rich and famous or whatever, or let's say like, whatever, like, Five Towns type, materialistic thing. So you could look at that and I'm just, we have to use the examples that are local, you could look at that and look at the big mansions and the cars and the caviar or whatever they do in back Lawrence, and desire that. But let's say you then go and you hear what these people are talking about all day long. Let's say the only thing they're talking about all day long is a keeping up with the Joneses type thing, or a like gossiping about like the this person, or stressing out about like their money. Let's say you actually hear the content of their thoughts and speech. In fact, toil, I'm starting to lean to the toil thing, and you realize that picture has behind it a very like sinister, dark, like mechanisms. That's not the wrong machinery. Like there's a machinery of like painful, unhealthy, obsessive thoughts that are what results in that lifestyle, and you can't have that lifestyle without those thoughts. Let's say, or the Hollywood example is another one. Is like people crave celebrity, like they want to be famous. But then when you peek behind the curtain and you see how plagued these people's lives are with the paparazzi and with people spreading rumors about them in the tabloids and stuff like that, then you just like, you hadn't made that connection before. And that would also account for why it is talking about their internal world, not the consequences of their behavior. That is a different argument for why you shouldn't be jealous of them, but this is talking about like what's behind the veil, you know?
Where I think like there's like some sort of like wow factor of like when you see like that big picture,
Yeah.
like I think it's like the celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, I want to be like that, and then it's like, well, do I really? Like if you think about it for like a second, I really want to be like that.
Yeah, right.
I want to live with like my life.
Right.
Like,
Here's another example again, not exactly this thing, but like I think when people look at, let's say like professional football players, right? And they're like, oh, they're famous and they're rich, right? But then you look at the fact that like many of these people have no inkling of how to manage their money. So they've got tons of financial problems. And then you fast forward down the line and you look at all the health issues that these guys develop from their, colliding with each other's heads, and then you realize, oh, like I can't have that without this, and that's the move that he's making. I like this approach. Yeah, David.
Just one other thing. I don't want to detract. I think it's what you're saying
Yeah.
about how just like their minds are constantly in this pain state.
Mhm.
I think there's also that within that, there's also like a certain amount of, there's a lot of energy that's going through here.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like these people are probably going to have like more energy, and all of that energy is frustrated energy. Whereas if you don't take a step into here, then you just don't have any of that energy to start. And I think I would probably go along with what you're saying.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a higher level argument of the routing of your energies, but I think that's why I was choosing the word obsessive, because there is an obsessive component that he seems to be describing here, that this is all they do, Yeah. Okay, I like this approach. Should we look at Metzudas for today and then see where that takes us? Okay. All right, Metzudas David says at the bottom, the Anshe Ra'ah, okay, so the success of the bad men, okay, Leos itam, to be with them, Lasos kwasem, to do what they do, okay, so that is, okay, that's a slightly different approach than what we're taking, because we were saying that it's really or at least I was saying that it's the image and the social, and you could read that into what he's saying, but he's saying that it's not just hanging out with them, it's doing their behaviors. He showed Ki machshavosam al ha-gezel, their thoughts are on gezel, on robbery, umedabrim amel, and they speak toil. Al kain harchik mehem, therefore distance yourself from ki masem magunim, because their actions are despicable. Okay, so this is one of these minimalist Metzudas David interpretations. Let's just dwell on it for one more second and see if we can get anything out of this. Their actions are despicable. I think like that's the biggest clue we're having here, but well, here's the thing: is that the thing that he's not saying our idea, but there is a parallel, which is that you're jealous of their hatzlacha, and you're not realizing the despicable nature of their actions. Like I'll give you another analogy for this: is like, there are certain people who are attracted to like the mafioso type lifestyle. And to a certain extent, gangs are like that also. But then when you actually think about the fact that these people have to murder people, or and you would, if you were to watch that, you would have that similar type awakening of not connecting their hatzlacha to their magunim actions. And this is also explicitly relying on the premise that the audience of the pasuk already disapproves of these actions. So I think this is amenable to your, the approach that you're suggesting. Yeah, Ellie?
So it kind of does seem as though like most individuals have this like intuitive belief or just of their nature that good things come to good people kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's obviously much more nuanced than that, I think, which Shlomo talked about a lot, but and it's kind of a reminder that, okay, these bad people, they may seem like they have good things, and they may have good things, or things that you desire, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is a causation of their good behavior.
When you say their good behavior, what do you mean?
Or a lack of good behavior, or it's not associated to good behavior, like quote unquote.
Right. Yeah. I just want to supply another something that sparked another example. Again, not exactly what he's saying here, but an example of the woe move, which is, let's say like there's a certain fantasy of like the playboy type guy who has lots of girls, right? So you don't realize what the types of relationships that entails behind the scenes of the types of betrayals and lying and sneaking around. And those are actions that are magune, that any self-respecting person would not want to be involved in, but all he sees is the final product, and so again, that's just another example. Yeah,
another example is like people who are high up at corporations.
Yeah.
Like people are like, wow, we so if I they're jealous of like people like that. In a lot of corporations, what that entails is like backstabbing other people to get ahead, and taking credit for other people's work.
Right.
And, like,
that's the type of show.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, let's do this now. Oh yeah.
One thing also sounds like with what all you guys are describing is there's no way to be moderate within this. Like there's no moderation.
Right.
You just got to keep building up.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. That fits with the obsessive thing. All right, let's do this. Let's just read Rabbeinu Yonah so we can have it in our mind for tomorrow, and then go back to it tomorrow. He's here tchila lihizaher mechavros isha nachriya. Oh, well, okay. So he's going back to the previous perek. He's referring to the previous perek. He warned earlier about guarding against the companionship with the strange woman. Then he said, don't go and inquire with the people who inquire over mixed drinks. Now he's saying, don't be jealous of the Antrei Ra. These are all warnings to guard yourself from the causes. I don't know what the difference between a gorem and a siba is, but the causes that cause you to sin. Okay. Bir inyan altkan b'anshe rash lo tachmod ashram v'otzem yadam v'chvodam. You should not covet their wealth, their power, and their honor. Okay, so that's breaking out that hatzlacha into its components. Al tisav lihositam shelo tavakish chevrasam. That's like what I was saying. Don't seek their friendship. Gam ki tire sheyesh lecha revach mamon bechavrasam. Also, if you see that there's going to be a certain monetary profit in their friendship. Okay, so he is connecting it more to the profit. Ki showed yehege libam almost sufsehem tadaberna. Kol rega yehege libam. At all times, their heart is thinking plunder. V'yacharosh ra'a, and plotting evil. Alkein lo yitachin shlo tadaberna sufsehem amal. Therefore, it's not possible for their lips not to speak amal. The te'anish kishetishma mipihem davar chet v'tishtok lo timche. Oh, that's a weird way to conclude. Very Rabbeinu Yonah-ian way to conclude, which is that you'll be, they're going to speak amal, which he doesn't define. And then you're going to hear from their mouth a sinful thing, and you're going to be silent and not rebuke them. And then let's see Rabbeinu Yonah and Shari Tshuva on footnote 3. Shari Tshuva Dalet Kuf Tzadi Ches. This is one of the reasons why you should abandon friendships with wicked people. You're going to be punished for hearing their bad action, their bad speech, and you're going to be too weary to or resistant to respond to them. You will bear a sin for their sin. You're going to always hear their bad speech, and you're going to be silent. So that it does, even though that's not an intuitive way to go, he is leading very heavily into these speaking Amel, which he seems to be learning as iniquity. So I think we should try to come back to that point tomorrow and see if we can get something out of that. The first part I think is very similar to what we were saying. Okay, good work. Okay, so Blinedo tomorrow, and then going forward, Mishlei will be on Mondays and Tuesdays, then Rabbi Gover Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then Q&A or finishing up Mishlei on Friday, but mostly here in New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.